Alright folks, here we go. We're about to start the process of making the peanut butter mousse brownie cake. So we got all our ingredients here. We got 1 egg, we got 1/3 cup of oil, we got 1/4 cup of milk, we have 2 tablespoons of strong brewed coffee, 1 cup of chocolate chips, the brownie batter, well, brownie mix I should say, and the caramel. Then all the tools we need to make this go. So first thing we're going to do is heat our oven, preheat it to 325. Then, this is my favorite thing to use, but a little goes a long way. So you're going to spray a little bit and brush it in and get that pan all prepared. So we want to take our baking spray. You can now, because it's a non-stick pan, you could use the other spray, but I prefer to use this. Give your can a good shake. And just spray a decent amount right in the middle. Then you're going to take your brush and you're going to go all over the sides, everywhere, cover every inch. Now that you got your pan all prepared and ready, you're going to go ahead and set that aside. Next, we're going to heat our milk up till just before scalding, and we're going to pour that over our cup of chocolate chips. These are milk chocolate chips I'm using. You can use any kind you like. So we're going to melt the chocolate chips. Now this is something that I add to the brownies. You don't need to do, but I find this gives the texture, the chewiness, and that nice crackle top. So you're using chocolate chips. Remember, scalding hot over it, then you're going to let it set, let it melt. You're going to let it melt, and I'll show you what to do. We're pouring this nice scalded milk over our chocolate chips. You do not have to do this at all. This is an added thing that I like to do. And you don't have to add a cup. You can add a 1/4 cup, whatever amount you want. You don't even need to do what I'm doing here. But I find that this is the key to any brownie mix. You can use peanut butter chips. You can use any, but we're melting it. We might have to throw it back in the microwave for about 10-second intervals. Just letting that hot milk naturally melt those delicious chocolate chips. And once that's melted, I'll show you what to do. We're going to be taking the oil and adding the oil to it. But we won't jump ahead of ourselves. It's melting right away. Doesn't take very long, and we're using chocolate chips. So chocolate chips really don't lose their form until you press them. Press them, stir them, do whatever. Now that that is melted, I'm giving it a nice incorporated mix. What we're doing right now is basically tempering the chocolate. Keep going with this. I'm going to get everything. Almost all incorporated. Now we're going to add our oil to this. We do not want to add our coffee yet, because that could possibly start to seize our chocolate. Now we've added our oil. Remember, we got our eggs sitting over there already beaten. We want to mix this all, blend it till it's nice and smooth. It may look a little not so smooth at first. You're just going to keep going. Keep going until it looks so nice and smooth, looking like a beautiful ganache, because this basically is what this is. This is ganache. And we could have used just the oil if we wanted, a little lesser of amount. But then again, we couldn't, because we're not making the ganache, we're just melting the chocolate, I should say. And you do not need to add the coffee. I like to add it because it definitely is magic with chocolate. It doesn't taste like coffee, however, it really makes that the chocolate pop out. And we warmed that coffee up a little bit. You do not want to be adding cold ingredients to this. It won't incorporate with the fats. Everything is room temperature. Unless really a recipe specifies otherwise. And with this one, it does not. Like sometimes they'll have you add a cold milk or cold coffee or cold water, and the reason for that is to stunt the leaveners, to kind of stop the leaveners while you incorporate air into the mix by hand. So alright, this is ready to go. We're going to check on our egg. It's ready. You check the bowl. You can check the temperature with your finger. I'm not going to do that because I do not want to do that. So anyway, I'm going to check the bottom of the... It's not too hot. Now we're going to add in our egg. It's already beaten. It's getting mixed together very well. It's just about ready to start adding the dry ingredients. Now this process is basically how you make homemade brownies. Wet to dry. It's the key. So here we go. So I like to take the mix. We're going to be adding it a little bit at a time, and I like to sift it out. This makes a much smoother texture in the final product. So we're sifting a little bit in at a time and just not whipping, but kind of like folding, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm not too concerned about the sifter, just to show you this first little sample. We're throwing a little bit in here. Then you're using your spatula. You can use the whisk, but you want to be very gentle. Just making all those dry ingredients disappear. Being gentle. You're not too worried about going crazy and mixing this. And you can use the whisk just a little bit to get some of these lumps out. Just sifting in those ingredients. This batter is going to get very, very thick like dough, much thicker than regular brownie batter. See, still adding. And I'm going to tell you something now, and I'll say it again. The key to taking your brownie out of the oven and knowing when to take it out is really, you kind of want it undercooked. It's going to finish cooking in the pan. But you want to take your toothpick or whatever you're using, a knife, and I'll be showing you how to do this, and you're going to go about 2 inches in, 1.5 inches to 2 inches in from the edge, and you're going to test it. If that comes out dry, you're good. Comes out with nothing on the toothpick, you're good. And then you check that, and then check the middle. And if the middle's a little wet, but the edge that you checked is dry, you are good. Then you'll notice too, which I'll show you, the brownie starts to pull away from the pan, and the edges, you'll just know by the edges too. So we'll get to that point, but we're almost done doing this. Gonna keep adding more, and we'll show you how thick it is. Still getting thicker and thicker. Here we go. Now we have it all ready. No dry ingredient showing, and we're gonna pan her. It's gonna get poured into the pan and then spread. Alright folks, now we're going to tap her down to get any excess air out of it, and be cautious of the neighbors below. Now I used a 9-inch springform pan. I'm sorry, 10. And I should have used the big one.